Hey there, business owner. Welcome to the Entrepreneur Evolution Podcast. This is our weekly episode, and I'm so happy you are here. Let's get started. Hi there, entrepreneur. Welcome to this week's episode of the Entrepreneur Evolution Podcast. I'm your host, Annette Walter. I'm a business growth coach, operations strategist, and growth-minded entrepreneur, just like you, growing and scaling two companies on the national level. And I am glowing. My heart is full from today's interview and what we are going to be sharing with you today. I'm joined by Kari Warberg Block, and honestly, she is a disruptor, a phenomenal CEO and leader, a kind, thoughtful, purpose-driven person. You're going to just learn so much from her. She's the CEO of EarthKind, which is a pest repellent and deterrent company that main purpose and founding purpose was to kill pests without killing or poisoning them. Okay. Her story dates back to 2007, and you would never believe what sparked the idea of her story. You need to listen to the story of how this business idea came to mind for her, because it's honestly one of my most favorite stories about how a company idea was founded. It's hilarious. It's actually really great. So, and most recently, she is an author, and she really knew at the age of 5 that she wanted to be an entrepreneur. And people have always been saying, you need to write a book. You need to write a book. And guess what? She did it. Gathering Around the Table. Short stories geared towards younger generation, college-age kids, inspiring them and motivating them to start a business. So talk about really being purposeful and leading with the drive to help the younger generation to truly be EarthKind. She represents everything about her company, everything about her drive, and what motivates her, what keeps her going. And honestly, after we stopped the podcast interview and officially, hit the unrecord button or turned the record off, we said to each other, I need more of you in my life. And she said to me, I need more of you in my life. And I just love her overall just aura about her. And I know you're going to love it as well. So take a listen. Tell me, share with me what you learned. What are the gold nuggets? What strikes a chord? If you hear something and it strikes you, it's because it's in you. And that's why sometimes it's so important to remember that you are continuously learning and growing and reading and listening to podcasts like this, because it keeps us going as entrepreneurs. That's what this is about. This podcast is for you and about you. And I am just so blessed and thankful and grateful and honored that I'm able to have this platform for you. You're listening and supporting it. And amazing entrepreneurs with fabulous stories like Kari are here to share and help you. So take a listen, like, subscribe, leave a review, and I will see you soon. Keep evolving, entrepreneur. I am so proud of you. Welcome, Kari. How are you?
I am fantastic. I'm so happy to be with you today.
I am really excited that you're here, and I just am looking forward to our conversation and sharing your story with the audience. You have such an amazing story, and most recently, a huge book launch that is just, the book is amazing. It's out of this world. So I can't wait to share more about that with our listeners. So today we are welcomed by Kari Warberg Block. She is the CEO of EarthKind, which I'm sure is something that you've seen on shelves in your local hardware and, home improvement stores. And most recently, the author of Gathering Around the Table, a story of purpose-driven change through business. So welcome. Oh, there it is. Look at the cover. I just love it. Okay, so share with our listeners your version of your story. Start wherever you want to start. Catch us up to speed. I really, really, really want you to tell the story about what sparked the idea of your business, because it's such a great share. And I'll just let you kind of take it away from there. Is that okay, Kari?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's go ahead and start with the business.
Yes.
The book includes many things from that first spark when I was 5 years old, when I knew things were terribly broken, and I felt like a consumer that had been ripped off when I got my first bottle of shampoo that burned my eyes, and it was just, the whole thing was just a miserable experience. But I started seeing through a different lens at that time. But take it back up about 25 years or so, 20 years. I was on a farm. I was on a date with my farmer husband, and a mouse ran up my leg. It kept running. It got right in my crotch. It was like the freakiest, most grossest. It's hard to even put into words. I did the best I could in the book, but anyway, the only thing I had to, like, in my defense, because I was in a grain truck all alone helping to pull start a truck behind me. I had my purse with me because we were on our way into town. I grabbed a bottle of perfume out of there and I just squirted. And normally I wouldn't wear perfume or bring a bottle, but hey, I was on a date.
Right.
And anyway, the mice ran out, and he comes running up there. He's like, what happened? What happened? Because, I'm nearly off the road and wrecked, the whole thing. And he said, mice are just a fact of life on the farm. There's nothing about it. They've been along for generations. The only thing you can do is kill them or trap them. And I knew that was a story, right? And when I ended up marrying the guy and I'm out on the farm, all of a sudden we're getting the mice in our tractors and trucks, and the damage was horrific. I had to clean it up. It was dangerous because droppings and feces can, spread 35 known diseases or more.
Wow.
And I thought, there's got to be a better way. There just has to be a better way. And I called all the companies. Everybody said, geez, lady, you're nuts. What are you, some granola pot smoker, kind of thing. They treated me like I was really stupid.
Right.
And I said, I really want something that I don't have to poison the environment. I don't have to risk my kids. And at that time, 98% of everything sold to control a rodent anyway was poison, toxic, harmful to the environment, all kinds of risks around it. And today, because of my first invention, that's down to 88%.
That's great. That's great.
So we're making our purpose is measurable, put it that way. So that first product was called Fresh Cab Rodent Repellent, which is
there it is
here.
There it is.
This invention, I put it together and became the inventor on record and got a patent. It was the first botanical product to get registered with the federal government, which is no tiny task. It's like
not at all.
Herbal tincture and making it into something you can sell with FDA. It's the same brevity, but we had to prove that it was effective. We had to prove that it was safe. It was Right. And once this product became available and it was affordable, then EPA could move to take the 8 most toxic baits and bars off the market, which they did about 5 years later.
Wow. So
that's another one of my
stamp here. Right, exactly. So is this, so this was about 14 years ago now, right? So what year are we in? Because botanical and you were ahead of the market. First of all, you were a complete disruptor, which is amazing. Before people were even talking about business disruption, right? Which was just common talk. Now it feels like common talk, but back then it wasn't. And then the botanical space and the all natural space, right? So what year? Let's just give a date stamp here for where we are on the timeline.
So this product became available and registered with EPA in 2007.
Wow.
So we've had, quite a few years on us. We've sold tens of millions of these.
Wow.
And I'm so happy because I was that farmer. I was that customer. Right. And I think the entrepreneurs that have the problem and figure out how to solve it have such an incredible advantage because they know that pain. I knew a farmer would pay $14.50 for 4 of these pouches because it saved thousands of dollars of damage. Right. Whereas the poison products out there were selling for $3.95 and the retailers would say, you are nuts, lady. Why are we going to put this on the shelf when you can buy the same thing for $3 or whatever? And that's when I got good at marketing, and I sent the farmers and the farm wives into the stores, and it proved to them that, hey, this is possible, which really had never been done before. And I'm so happy to see now people are really aware and educated of the impacts of some of the things that they use in their home, the impacts on their health and their well-being.
Absolutely.
And not to mention the environment.
Well, and you had to be the pioneer of your product. You had to get out there, you had to market it. And you are so right when you say we are our ideal client, right? And a lot of times people have a hard time narrowing in like where they are focusing. But really when you are your ideal client, it's so powerful. And you knew that was a pain point, and also stuck with your price point, which is so huge. There's so much work that has gone into this story. So tell us, because this is always something, Kari, that I get is like, how does she go from being on a date and a mouse crawling up her leg and spraying out perfume very quickly to now this huge successful national business in major retailers? What would you say to that?
Yeah, hope and prayer might be the real answer. Absolutely. But really, it's keep going, taking one step at a time. And I learned, and this book will it helps to illustrate how very powerful we are when we take one step and then we look around and use the environment and that we're in for clues, because it will give you clues. And I found so many times that when a door is shut, it's really just a disguise or a wake up of, hey, something might not be right.
Yes.
If I believed people and said it's all about price, this wouldn't have happened, because that's what the disruptors do, is they create a different vision of the future and they create it. And to answer your question, that's where it can get difficult, because I hit the ceiling quite a few times and wanted to quit and wanted to give up. And there would always be a clue, like a letter, like, oh my gosh, you saved my marriage. We fight about this and we can't do it. And the implement dealers started calling me the marriage saver,
right?
Because the women were having to take care of these implements, right? And now they didn't have to do that. And it wasn't this huge fight. And then of course, there's the money. And then, I have to clean it up and there's no time. And so I started to realize the intangible benefits of what I'm doing, which really gets into the purpose, right? And why I published this book with Conscious Capitalism Press, and how I built the company and operationalized our values, because it was really tough. I remember I went to marketing firms and they'd say, well, to be successful, you have to do this and this. I can't even tell you how many. It's probably into the millions, right? Barf bin, seriously. Right. How much money I've wasted. And I learned the hard way, I guess, as the team and the company grew. I asked my people tell me that. My customers tell me what's next. The environment tells me what's next, and being able to adapt to that, really, I think that's the key to success, and understanding your metrics. So you're still making money at the end of it.
Right. Absolutely. So in those moments of feeling discouraged, the feedback and the letters kept you going. And I love how you said, I kept on hitting a ceiling, or what you thought was the ceiling. And then you'd have those breakthroughs. That was like everything you just said was like, just hit home with me. I know it's going to hit home with our listeners. So what sparks a book? Because we have a lot of entrepreneurs out there that ask me all the time, Annette, I want to write a book. How do I write a book? What should I do? So tell us what that looked like for you when that moment came to you, or how you knew that was a journey you wanted to explore.
So people have been telling me ever since I was a little kid, you have to write a book.
Oh,
My life has been, it's like a roller coaster. The publisher of the book told me this is one of his favorite books of all time. And I was so deeply honored. And he said, it hit me. He said, it grabbed my heart, it hugged me, and it held me the entire way.
I just got chills, Kari.
Yeah, and I couldn't be more happy about that. So I think this might play into some good advice for people thinking about writing a book, because I knew if the rest of what I do is disruptive and unexpected, I am not going to come out with a book that says how to be EarthKind. It's a selling piece for my business. I was like, what is the most value I can bring to the world? The most value. And so that's how I did it. And I found a couple writers to help me. And in fact, I put their name right on the book.
Right. I know. I love that you
People
did
don't
that.
normally do, but they have ghostwriters that help them. But I'm telling you, a book can never come to be without a good team around you.
Okay.
So from the stories in this book are really tailored to that 18 to 25-year-old that is an entrepreneur and they want to change the world because they have a deep pain that so many things are broke. This is really written for the disruptor. So I'm getting testimonies and a lot of people like Kara Golden, a friend, and some of my friends that have published books and are amazing, successful entrepreneurs, they read it and they're like, this is the best book ever. Don't narrow yourself.
Right.
But I specifically wrote it for that age. And so I wanted the stories to move quick. I didn't want people to get bored, all of that. But basically, this book takes people through those questions, those deep soul wrenching questions that come up when you're in business. And what I found is when I went around and talked to college students in universities, they would ask me certain questions around these stories. So that's how those stories came to be incorporated into the book, because for some reason they were really resonating with people.
It's so purposeful. It is. So what questions do you feel like you got the most from the college kids?
Well, they want, of course, they want to know, how do you find your purpose?
Yes.
Which is why I started the book with mine as being that 5-year-old little girl and feeling terribly ripped off, right?
Yes.
And then the second chapter goes into little hustlers. And this book is for those little hustlers out there, that had the Kool-Aid stands and the paper routes and finding ways. And kids nowadays, I've found and discovered, are far more entrepreneurial and doing a lot of things and starting businesses. It blows me away and totally amazes me. But students would often change their course of study after I spoke. They'd line up, they'd talk to me, and they'd say, I did not realize that being an entrepreneur could just make my heart open and feel so good. And a lot of times it might be accounting students, right? And they're like, I'm really good with numbers, but I want to do more. I want to have an impact.
Right.
And then the next question usually that I'll ask them is say, what is it that's just pisses you off? Like more than anything.
Which is such a good question. It's such a good question. Yeah. What frustrates you? Like, what in life right now are you struggling with? What don't you like? Right.
Yeah. And that's where really good solutions can be born, whether it's pallets that are crooked and the wood breaks.
Yes. My world. Right. Oh dear.
Yeah. Or in my world, it was, why would we lure a pest in and then put the poison and then kill it and then have to clean up and dispose of it? And I thought, why can't we just create something that the pest does it on its own?
Right.
So it makes it so easy for the customer, but there's a lot of complex behavioral chemistry behind the scenes on it. And that that's pretty amazing. And then when I invented it too, I did open source on the delivery system.
Okay.
So now we have a lot of competitors, we call them neighbors.
Yes.
Doing similar things. And the whole goal of our company was to just reduce that toxic load. It's like, so that's why I started with the most toxic problems in a home. Those that, because pesticides are a leading contributor to childhood cancer.
I imagine. That sounds like completely real. Like that is just struck a chord, because it's like when you have young kids in the house, you think that you have things safely away under the sink in the kitchen or, in the back, but those things really radiate into your home, right?
Yeah, they do, especially, sprays or even the external treatments. And it's control professional. They're usually very well trained, and they understand how to use these products to keep them out of reach and to use them safely. But the average homeowner doesn't, or they can't afford it. To call in somebody. So we started early on doing this resource center to really truly help people. And it seemed like a oxymoron, I guess, kind of, why would you give free advice when you're trying to sell a product, right? But today we have a third of the share of voice in the category because we started early.
Right.
So it's allowed us to not have to spend a lot of money to get people into our website, because you can find my advice in Martha Stewart or Good Housekeeping or Women's Health, and we earned that over the years, and we know way more about pests than the average.
We really do. But I love how you personally always show up, and you are always so genuine, so real, so kind, honestly, so purposeful. And that's how you've always presented, no matter where, if we've seen each other, at a conference or just, through social media or wherever. You really do. Do you ever get really stressed out? Like, how are you when you're stressed out? I don't think I've ever seen you stressed out, Kari.
No, by nature, I'm a very calm person. I think it really helps because, especially the size of the business I have and where I'm going, you really have to have a steady rudder, right? And a steady aim, and then winds come and things. And I am that grounding piece too for my people. And we can talk about too, if you want to, how we reacted through COVID, but those skills became, oh my gosh, incredible, important for our teams and our people and our customers to hold that. And part of our corporate, our culture is faith. We have faith in our North Star and our purpose. And that really helps to keep us calm and be real and honest too. Like, oh, today's a day.
Right. Yes, we're having a day.
Yeah, where we'll help each other out and laugh about it and think of ways to handle it rather than let the adrenaline. And here's the thing too about kindness, that it's really interesting, because kindness truly does improve well-being and mental health.
Yes.
Just the practice of that. And there's a lot of studies now on mindfulness, but mindfulness plays into it as well. I heard a couple weeks ago that buying a $5 dog toy is the number one reason for happiness in people. And so why is that? I think it's because it's very kind. Pets are so amazing to us. You pick up a pet toy, and that's something we do in the company. I take my dog to the pet store, and he personally picks out pet toys for all of the people's dogs. So
I love it.
Little things that help us remember, right? That, hey, come on, this too shall pass.
Absolutely. So with the business growth and where you're headed, you've had significant levels of different revenue ceilings in your business. And entrepreneurs out there feel the pain. You know, you start with the spark of the idea, you tip over the 500,000 mark, the $1 million mark, the 2.5, the 5, the 25, the 50. So do you remember any defining revenue moments, or how you got through those different tiers, and how you really were as a leader, and what got you through those things? Any advice there?
Well, I think one of the biggest things to remember is the only way to learn really is by doing. Mm-hmm. Einstein even said that. You have to have the experience so you can see it and be exposed to it and read it, mm-hmm. which is why the book, I wanted to really take it into that soul level, mm-hmm. where I'm sharing very intimately the feelings around it, right? So people could start to, so those that have been through it, it really resonates with, because they're like, oh, totally, I have been there, because it can be so incredibly painful that you think you're not going to make it. And then and if you get too tired, then your mind starts attacking you.
Yes.
Yeah. Why am I doing this? I must be so stupid. And then if you don't have the family support around you, that's another thing. Mm-hmm. So it's really, really important to get your system, or your people around you, your advisors. Mm-hmm. That is probably one of the biggest things that you can do, because when you hit those ceilings, which are inevitable, mm-hmm. I've hit many of them, you can only grow your business to the fact that you grow your leadership. Mm-hmm. And so you have to be that doer in the beginning. You have to wear all the hats. You know, I was the engineer. I was the attorney. I did a lot of that work myself.
Right.
I set up the bookkeeping system. Everything. And then you get to a point where you have to trust other people to start doing those things, and you build your infrastructures. And I think some of the things that really helped me was Vistage. I was a member of Vistage.
Yes.
5 years. So I joined, oh my gosh, I can think of when it was, 2007, maybe, mm-hmm. somewhere in there.
Yes.
And I was at it's like 995,000 in revenues, just mm-hmm. hitting that $1 million mark.
Right.
I had been reading about it. Okay, you need to really change everything when you hit that mark.
Right. Yes.
And depending on the industry too, like us in manufacturing, we pretty much have to have about 4 or 5 times the savvy mm-hmm. that a normal business does. So for instance, if we're a $10 million company, it's really like a $50 million company.
Exactly.
In the infrastructure, because we're moving millions of units.
Right.
And so it requires incredible systems. So I think it helped me because I was always a good systems thinker. Mm-hmm. I firmly believe the systems will take a lot of people out, more so than the competition, because it's really a tough skill to find in people. Mm-hmm. That can understand the complexity of it. And especially in the digital world today.
Absolutely.
It scares me. And that was another reason writing this book. It's like, why now? Mm-hmm. We need these young whippersnappers out there starting companies, because it seems like it's all going to the bigger ones. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it should be a good thing to like, oh, I'm going to make all this and sell to a big one, because it just makes it tougher for the next entrepreneur coming in.
Absolutely. My son, he has the engineer brain, very cerebral. And I want him to read this book, because he has, started little businesses, and he actually has a big purpose around his type 1 diabetes to help those in that community. And I think it's going to be he's 11, but he's a really strong, I think, candidate for your book. I think he's going to really gain so much out of it. So it's on his summer reading list. So I'll let you know how it goes.
Awesome. My son's here as well, and an entrepreneur, and my grandkids are entrepreneurs too already at a very, very young age.
What are they up to?
So they're growing produce and vegetables. Right. One is making birdhouses.
Love it.
And building like some motels for birds.
I love it.
Fun
it's so great. It's so great.
It's amazing.
when we can give back like that, and the ripple of the generation with all of the strong values that you are just radiating on this call right now, it's just incredible. So talk to me before we wrap up here about your go-to books or podcasts. You mentioned faith. I'm interested to see if you have any like good podcasts or motivational things that you follow that you want to share today that you like.
So, well, I happen to be lucky to have a couple pastors in my family. So Sweet. I have been reading the Bible more.
Great.
Which is interesting because over the past many years, I've kind of done a deep dive in every single religion because it's just so fascinating to me. So I find myself following what my daughter and her husband are following. And nice. I'm learning so much, and especially watching the next generation do it. My daughter will share things she learned as a child. And it's just, I mean, I'll sit there and she'll be leading a service. She's an author too, and focuses on teenage girls and preteens. Very old age. And I'll sit there and I'll just like, oh my gosh, and cry. But I realize there's so much I don't know of the very basic things that I really feel like I should know. So long story short, that's what I'm into right now.
I love it. I love it. So where can we find you? Where can we get your product? Through EarthKind? Where can we get the book? Like, share everything. How can we help you? How can we get more of you, Kari?
So for our products, you can find them at all Lowe's stores. You can find them at Target stores in the lawn and garden section. You can find, if anybody that's farming or hobby farmers, you can find our products at Tractor Supply and most of the farm stores. You can come to our website, earthkind.com. You'll see our product assortment, and there's a store locator. So you can click on and find a store in your area. For my book, you can go to, we can put a link in here, but I have a website, KariWarbergBlock.com. And there's all of the things that I'm up to, our campaign that we're doing this year for teachers.
Great.
We're nominating every month.
Okay.
A new Harmony hero, because our team really wanted to support teachers among us.
Okay.
It's called the Year of the Monarch. So check that out, because we've got amazing, fun things going on there.
Okay, great.
Kids and teachers to get involved in. And thank you so much.
Oh my goodness.
Follow us, sign up for our newsletter, my blog, anything that resonates.
I love it all. I love it all. So on this note to end with, what's your personal motto, personal mantra, personal words to live by? Do you have any quote that you would like to leave us with, Kari?
Well, I've been using the quote my mom had, and she passed away when I was 11, and we put it on her tombstone, but it was live to the hilt, love to the core.
I like that a lot. That's really special. I really, really like that. You are honestly just one of the most generous, giving, kind people I have met, and I love your purpose. I'm so, so proud of you with this book and what you have brought to all of us and shared with all of us. You are beyond kind, Kari, and I am so grateful that you were here today. Thank you so, 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 so much for being here.
I'm so happy to finally get together with you.
I know. It's been too long. Now we need to find each other at a conference again and finally hug, right? Everybody's ready for some hugs.
We're ready.
All right. I'll talk to you soon, Kari. Thanks. Bye. Wow. What an episode. Did you learn something new? I hope so. I am so happy you were able to be here with us today. I'd love to hear from you. Leave me a review and I will be sure to read it and respond to you. Also, if you'd like to email me, my email address is yourock@iEvolveConsulting.com. Hit subscribe, and every Tuesday you'll get notification when the next episode drops. We really have some amazing interviews and tips in the future. Anything you need, I'm here for you. I want you to keep your momentum. I want to help you stay accountable. I want you to stay inspired. I want you to evolve. So please let me know what you need, and I'd love to hear from you. Take care until next time.